Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Week 7 of NBA 2k action down here in the ECAC. Mr. Clean got the opening bucket. We cut that off to account for the pregame timeout shenanigans. Psychic able to tie it up. Now at 2-2 apiece. Psychic coming into this week the only remaining player undefeated as Mr. Clean. The green release with Curry on the layup. Psychic coming in undefeated. Mr. Clean not an unfamiliar opponent. Of course, those of you who have been following Psychic through the NBA 2K23 season know that Psychic faced off against Mr. Clean in the grand finals of the spring semester of NBA 2K23. He's going to be facing off against Psychic here in week 7 in NBA 2K24. Psychic on the slam. We take a brief look excuse me, at the standings. As I mentioned, Psychic standing alone right at the top. A whole lot of hungry wolves in the pack. A massive tie for second place as we approach the final 2 weeks of regular season play. Psychic, strong W against Mr. Clean here. Surely gonna assert himself as the #1 seed, possibly going undefeated. Psychic looking to continue with a lob, not quite gonna do so, but yeah, you see it down there. Psychic taking down Cumberland Will at 5-1. Already taken down Newman. Gonna potentially take down Mr. Clean this week. A whole lot of players stuck at 5-1, but Psychic standing alone at 6-0, looking to continue that undefeated streak here tonight. And Mr. Clean last semester, we saw him with the Milwaukee Bucks. Psychic with the corner 3 with Giannis, not gonna go. But we saw Psychic and Mr. Clean play a Bucks mirror match in the regular season. Both of them choosing different teams for the finals. Both of them a gentleman's agreement to not use the Milwaukee Bucks. Psychic on the secondaries matchup was able to sweep Mr. Clean to take home first place as he picks up the green release there. Damian Lillard so dangerous for Psychic. Mr. Clean looking to write a new chapter in NBA 2K24 and doing so with a new team, the Golden State Warriors. Psychic gonna have the height mismatch on virtually every single lineup. See Giannis on Klay Thompson. The late recovery gonna be a foul. We're gonna send Mr. Clean to the line for 2 free throws. And Steph Curry, historically the greatest free throw shooter in NBA history. Very difficult for Mr. Clean to miss any of those with the Star Warriors point guard. I'm sure Mr. Clean's going to look to go to him often as Psychic. Looking to go to his star player. That tall, small pick and roll. Psychic was looking for the 3-pointer. Maybe got a little greedy. Little Bobby Portis basketball. Going to send Psychic to the line for 2 free throws. Still going to get some points, but he's going to have to earn them the old-fashioned way. Mr. Clean is content to keep Steph Curry at point guard, and Psychic ends up with some help defense from his AI teammates for just a second. Mr. Clean able to convert with the smallest window, and Psychic knows the help is coming late this time. He's going to convert. He's not going to get caught in the hesitation game. Psychic's got to look to be decisive in this matchup. He's going to have the height mismatch on virtually every single help defender the Golden State Warriors can throw at him. Psychic looking to recover, but he recovers to Draymond Green to leave Steph Curry open. Psychic's also got to be aware on defense. Steph Curry, public enemy #1 for the Psychic defense here. Mr. Clean, again, certainly looking to emphasize Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, those 2 star shooters, early and often. And Psychic throws a pick. Surely going to be a pick 6. Mr. Clean off to the races. Going to get the slam dunk with Steph Curry. About a possession left in the first quarter. Let's see if Psychic is going to hold the ball, take that last shot. Psychic looking to cook early. See if this Damian Lillard pick and roll is working. Going to end up more Bobby Portis basketball, and Psychic's going to end up touching the line. Mr. Clean out of Augustana College. Going to be the one to take the final shot of the first quarter. Bring the ball out to Clay. Mr. Clean, the last second shot. Wide open, but the release just off the mark. Psychic down 7 as we head to the second quarter. Those shooters, a problem early for Post University here. Get into the second quarter. Seems we've got an early Psychic timeout. Maybe some tactical adjustments to account for the sheer shooting might Augustana Esports is employing here with Steph Curry and the Warriors at the helm. Out of the timeout, both players, no lineup adjustments. And some tactical adjustments under the hood. Although just as I say that, Team Psychic spotted it. A timeout, perhaps a substitution. The guard on the left wing, I believe that's Pat Connaughton. Not entirely sure. Whoever it is, out of the timeout. Psychic not looking to keep him on the floor. They're taking a step back. Chris Middleton back in the game for Psychic here. A tall, small pick and roll. It's been a 3-point generator. Psychic going to be able to convert the layup. Again, Psychic off of that tall, small pick and roll. He knows whatever's coming to help in the paint will not matter to the size and strength of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And look at Mr. Clean forcing Psychic to play that on-ball defense. The help comes a little late. It's going to be enough to bother the shot. Psychic yet again, a wall of Augustana Esports formed down here in the yellow. Ball going to go out to Brook Lopez. The late contest going to be enough to bother the shot. That one also off the mark. Teams trading 3-point misses. Psychic doing well to identify Stephen Curry. The hesitance out of Augustana College. That's going to draw a timeout. Mr. Clean not happy with what he saw there. Mr. Clean, all the semblance of a weak spot. Didn't see anybody from Post University come to help off the Stephen Curry drive. See how Psychics plays this. Out of the timeout, we've already seen Psychic forced to respect the one-on-one on-ball prowess Mr. Clean has been bringing for Augustana Esports here, and on the pick and roll, it's going to be more of the same. Mr. Clean able to punish the help. So far, 3 has been greater than 2. It's been the name of the game so far. Psychic has that height mismatch on the smaller Draymond Green. Going to throw him under the basket, and that's all she wrote. 2 more points for Psychic and the Post University Eagles here. Yeah, that's what Psychic's got to play. Psychic right now has his help defender. Going on the pick and roll. They send Steph Curry off ball on the cut, and Psychic's right there, but he's just not ready for that kind of attack. Clean, well aware of every off ball and on ball counter that Steph Curry brings to the table. Oh, and Psychic, the victim of a bump steal, is going to be on the fast break defense here. Hesitation from Augustana. Psychic happy to let Draymond Green shoot the ball. Mr. Clean happy to take it. Psychic gonna go the other way. Psychic on the drive, ball out to Giannis. Psychic yet again has this height mismatch. Augustana content to bring some help, however. Damian Lillard open on the wing. Augustana able to recover. Is that out of bounds? Offensive 3-second violation. Damian Lillard open for just a second on the wing. Second was all Mr. Clean needed to be able to recover, and help for Psychic not able to recover in time. Mr. Clean up to a big 10-point lead here. Psychic content to take the easy points yet again. He's able to just throw Draymond Green into the paint repeatedly. Mr. Clean content to take him again. 3 is greater than 2. Mr. Clean's been able to shoot the lights out of the ball so far. See Mr. Clean prioritizing the 3 so much there. And on the cut, yeah, Psychic's all over it this time. 8 seconds remaining. A pick and roll out of Mr. Clean. Psychic going to stay on ball. Goes towards the paint just a little bit. Not going to bother the recovery. And now Psychic with the fast break. 1-on-2. He's going to spot Damian Lillard. The pass just off the mark. And now Psychic cooking on the pick and roll. Oh, a mean hesitation move. And it's green. Okay. Down to a 5-point lead. Off of some My Park magic out of Psychic there. Mr. Clean surely looking to respond in the pick and roll. Psychic's known for that off-ball defense. It's been so pesky all season and in prior seasons, but right now Mr. Clean forcing him to work on ball. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Gonna get all the way to the rim, but the shot is off the mark. Mr. Clean gonna air it out. Or Psychic gonna air it out early. Mr. Clean able to respond to the errant pass and create a wide open 3-pointer. Not the kind of shot you want to give up if you're Psychic. Psychic ironically moving too quick on the fast break there. Mr. Clean able to punish. Psychic knows he has the height mismatch down there, but Giannis red barring, not what you want to see. Meanwhile, on the pick and roll, Psychic and Mr. Clean going bar for bar right now, ladies and gentlemen, on the green releases. Mr. Clean looking to drop another verse here. And Psychic forced to play off ball, or on ball rather, because of the problems this pick and roll has been creating. Hesitation for some mid-range magic. Mr. Clean not looking for it. Drive and kick game gonna come up empty for Augustana Esports. Psychic knows. Got the head of steam. Just got to figure out where the help is coming from. Able to move the ball out to Damian Lillard. Oh, nearly a dunk. Gonna be an and one instead. Not half bad for Psychic. Gonna go to the line to bring the lead down to 2 points here. Oh, and that released something to be desired incredibly early. Psychic has not taken notes on Damian Lillard's free throw routine. Seemingly incredibly slow there, as you saw. And some of these routines on both squads a little abnormal. Damian Lillard's is incredibly slow. As the late shot not gonna go. Just Psychic all over that one. Lead down just to 3 at halftime. We'll see what Psychic's gonna do. He likes his platoon swaps, bringing in the whole bench mob in for the third quarter, but he's got to be careful of Mr. Clean. He's not gonna do the same. Provide a little window for him and Augustana Esports to end the game in a hurry. They can go on a run while Psychic has the starters out. Psychic's got to beware here. Got to be willing to have a tight leash with the bench mob, and Psychic gonna continue to put the bench mob in the game. Some substitutions out of Mr. Clean, it seems. Oh, never mind. Yeah, an entire platoon swap for Mr. Clean as well. Both teams going bar for bar on the substitution patterns. Psychic down in the paint, a big slam. The bench mob has been a point of concern for Psychic, but with Mr. Clean doing the exact same substitution pattern, it could be a time for Psychic to come back. You don't got to worry about the fierce 3-point shooting of Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, and Gary Payton II just not the same quality of shooter compared to the starters Mr. Clean had in the first and second quarters. Psychic surely well aware of that here. Oh, Brook Lopez basketball. Gotta see that jump hook. The hesitation shedding everybody. The jump hook is green, and Psychic has the lead. Okay. Been a Robin Lopez basketball has been a bit of a meme for Psychic throughout the season, but early on in the third quarter, it's gotten him the lead. Although Mr. Clean, a mismatch with the big fella themselves. Although a pick and roll Curious play construction. They get a three-pointer out of it. So what do I know? The three-pointer off the mark. Psychic yet again off to the races with a chance to increase that lead. The late help from Mr. Clean enough to bother the shot. Just a little late. On the layup, Psychic gonna erase it, but it's a foul. Kuminga, not the best free throw shooter on planet Earth for Augustana Esports here. They are able to split a pair of free throws though. We are all tied up. Mr. Clean playing way high up with Jonathan Kuminga. Psychic with the bench mob doesn't have a player with that sort of speed to punish the late recovery, and Psychic attacking the help. Robin Lopez three-pointer. B- 3-point rating on Robin Lopez. Good enough to go in theory. Perhaps not in practice. And now late contest from Psychic. You saw Robin Lopez diving out of bounds. Not going to be enough as Mr. Clean nails his second three-pointer with Dario Saric there in the corner. Being called for the reach-in foul here. They're looking to draw up some off-ball magic. Oh, Mr. Clean's all over it, however. He's going to snuff out the off-ball play. Going to force us into more Robin Lopez basketball. The jump hook, pure again. 60% contested, but Psychic's been in the lab. Excuse me. Amazing release from Psychic. Keep it a 1-point game. A hesitation, but Mr. Clean runs into some help. Augustana forced to bring the ball out, and that's a blocking foul, surely. Ball out, still Augustana ball. Dario Saric, a bit of a problem for Psychic here. Smaller player than the center Psychic has on the court, Robin Lopez, but a bit faster. A bit of a better shooter, but this time Psychic able to corral the offense. It's a shot clock violation. Psychic, some clever moves here. Mr. Clean content to throw Jonathan Kuminga to bother the inbounds pass because he knows Psychic doesn't really have the speed to take advantage of the recovery. And Psychic, he has the height advantage on Dario Saric, just like we talked about. Gave him an advantage on defense in the paint. Gonna give him an advantage on offense. The exact same spot. He's got the lead. It's been back and forth here, however. 33-32 for now. Well, just as I say that, Mr. Clean able to respond. Nice pick and roll moves out of the point god themselves, Chris Paul. Psychic looking to respond in a hurry. Not quite able to do so. Oh, the jump hook again. It's green. Psychic cooking with gas. The jump hook. Those moves, not the easiest ones to guard in NBA 2k. And we're seeing Psychic work some magic with the jump hook and the shorter Chris Paul in the painted area. Height advantage not going to matter that time. Mr. Clean yet again. The lead going back and forth in the third. It's just going to read the defense. An incredibly early foul from Mr. Clean. He doesn't want that mismatch to exist for even a second there. Side out. Psychic ball yet again. And it's center on center, but Mr. Clean's gotta worry about that one. Psychic going to bring the ball out. Pat Connaughton. 6 seconds left. Pat is red barring. Psychic going to be forced on some more Brook Lopez basketball. This time it's blocked. Mr. Clean not bothered by the shimmy Robin Lopez was throwing out. Psychic was over the right shoulder, and Mr. Clean standing right there, the easy block. Mr. Clean the chance to extend the lead to 3 here with about a minute left to play in the fourth quarter. A mean crossover. No one left to help. Psychic not able to switch to the player to help in time. Mr. Clean out of there in a hurry with the shorter but quicker Chris Paul. Some off-ball magic, and it's a 3-point foul. Psychic to the line for 3 free throws. The late contest from Mr. Clean. Send them to the line. Gonna be desired on that second shot. Gotta feel pretty good if you're Psychic there. Well, maybe not going 1 for 3. Mr. Clean probably feeling good about that. foul, especially with the last shot of the quarter. They're going to have a chance to make it a 2-possession game. And Mr. Clean snuck the starters back in the game. Is that a Kevon Looney 3-pointer? I don't think Psychic had that in the scouting report. That is the last guy on this starting lineup you expect to be making 3-pointers. And Mr. Clean, a bit of a last possession blitz, has snuck the starters back into this game. Psychic gonna thank his lucky stars. It's still a 1-possession game with 7 seconds remaining, but Mr. Clean not looking to leave the third quarter with the game this close. Last second shot from Steph, off the mark. So despite the sneak attack from Mr. Clean, still a 3-point game. Post University down 3 as we enter the fourth. Fourth quarter time, ladies and gentlemen. A quick timeout from Psychic. Mr. Clean still with all of their timeouts. Psychic only with 2. Gotta be mindful of that timeout counter. We've seen them give up excessive timeout technical foul shots in the past. In a close game, only 2 timeouts remaining. Psychic has to be decisive with his decisions during these 60-second breaks. Especially if he's just using them to allow his starters to gain back some stamina and energy. Like able to take an early lead, maybe force a timeout or 2 out of Mr. Clean. This could be huge. The early pick and roll. Gonna force the help. Psychic is there in time. 40% recovered. You see the very early release. Mr. Clean shooting early to try and beat the help. And Psychic looking for a layup there, but Mr. Clean able to force that jump hook animation with the recovery. Psychic should be there. 2K doesn't think so. A green release and a wide open shot. The lead up to 6. Augustana Esports. Oh, and Psychic looking to go bar for bar with the Giannis 3-pointer rather. The hesitation gonna draw 2 defenders. That shot off the mark. Psychic gonna end the offensive possession. Just take the 2 points. Gonna go back to work on defense on this lead. Psychic yet again forced on off ball, or on ball help rather. And Mr. Clean gonna throw a pick. Psychic off to the races. There's that height mismatched. Nearly the slam. The slam not turned into a layup that's off the mark. Mr. Clean, a huge stop. Psychic had the height, but Augustana with the heart there. Still a 4-point game. And one-on-one in the painted area. Mr. Clean gonna kick the ball out, but a sea of Psychic assistance on the left wing. The last second pick and roll. Psychic all over it. Rebound gonna be corralled, and Psychic has struggled in the fast break. 2 consecutive stops on the fast break for Mr. Clean, and a quick foul gonna force Psychic into the half court. Oh, and a bump steal nearly in the first second of possession, but Psychic able to get it out of there in a hurry. Put out the fire. A 1-possession game here. Gotta be wary of the help in this pick and roll. The hesitation from Mr. Clean. He's looking to spot where these pick and roll defenders are going. They gotta pick their poison. Psychic able to get out unscathed that time. Mr. Clean surely looking for a rerun of the previous episode. 4 seconds left. And Psychic is all over Mr. Clean in this possession. An early foul from Mr. Clean. Doesn't want to let Psychic get off to the races, but it's a transition take foul. Psychic gonna get his chance at a free shot. We're gonna head to the no league screen for just a second. Psychic not happy missing 2 free throws with Damian Lillard. Normally an amazing free throw shooter in his own right. Excuse me. Psychic not happy missing 2 with the slightly abnormal free throw animation Damian Lillard brings to the table. Now the tall, small pick and roll. It's for Damian Lillard this time. Mr. Clean gonna snuff it out. Mr. Clean this time with the mismatch in the paint. Like it with a quick foul to shut that down. It's a huge play. Not a transition take foul either. It's gonna be side out. Augustana Esports ball. Augustana going right into that pick and roll yet again. Psychic baiting Mr. Clean into his layer. It's a fast break. the Mr. Clean fast break defense has been so good. The spin move, gonna shed the defense, and we're all tied up. The length from keeping Giannis at point guard has been a problem. Well, speaking of problems, the three-point shooting from Mr. Clean gonna respond. The lead right back up to 3 for Augustana Esports. Well, the hesitation move, but Giannis is red barring. Psychic not gonna have access to that burst of speed. Instead, gonna be shooting 2 free throws. He's been struggling from the line tonight. Want to see him go 2 for 2 here, keep this game close. First one is clean. Second one is green as well. Psychic turning that meter off. Had enough of missing these free throws. He's got to come up with a stop here. Going under the screen, so huge. Psychic knows what Mr. Clean is looking for on the pick and roll. Spots the hesitation. Three-pointer from Andrew Wiggins. And that one's green for Mr. Clean. The lead up to 4. Psychic needs points and in a hurry. The third option on this Golden State Warriors squad. And the deep hook from Giannis. That's been a point of contention. Psychic's been forced into 3 of those. He's surely looking for layups on those possessions. But the defense from Mr. Clean just good enough to force him into those tough shots. And the lead is up to 6 with a minute remaining. We're die time for Post Esports here in game 1. All out to Damian Lillard. Now Chris Middleton, a bit of a height mismatch. Mr. Clean all over it early. 10 seconds remaining. Hesitation going to shed the defense just a little bit. But 2 seconds remaining. Psychic going to get forced into a tough shot. The offensive rebound surely there, but Mr. Clean, a late recovery and a massive lead. Any more scoring would be game point. An intentional foul on the Steph Curry. Maybe force Mr. Clean to inbound the ball to a poor free throw shooter. Do not let Steph grab that ball. Going to be able to get it on the inbound. Psychic just decides to play this straight up. Any scoring out of Mr. Clean going to spell doom and gloom for game 1 here. Psychic not going to leave it up to chance with the foul there. Seems the late waving of the white flag. We're going to go right into game 2 when we are back from a quick break. Ladies and gentlemen, seems Psychic not too happy how the last half of that game carried out. Understandably so, the free throw shenanigans. We'll be back after some mid-series adjustments. Don't go anywhere. gentlemen, we are back. Game 2. Gotta adjust that score line for just a moment there. Mr. Clean yet again gonna come out with the opening tip. Here on the Psychic home floor. Mr. Clean's been so money on that read. Already going to work early on in this game as we hit the pre-game offensive and defensive adjustments. Psychic, I've got to let the players involved in that screening action know to stay. Just trust in your on-ball ability to stay with Stephen Curry. Don't have any switch shenanigans going on. Even if it becomes a layup line, you force Mr. Clean to make those reads. Psychic brings that second defender from the corner. Don't turn it into a shooting contest if you're Psychic here, because we've seen Mr. Clean win these times. Saw this back when they faced off last semester, not in the playoffs, but in the regular season Bucks mirror match. Mr. Clean not winning with the power and size of Giannis Antetokounmpo, but rather the star three-point shooting, even going to the bench mob or three-pointers that Psychic just wasn't able to match. I'm Psychic, I'm doing everything in your power to shrink the floor and not let Mr. Clean beat you from the outside. Out of the timeout, Psychic looking to take immediate advantage. Talked about this in game 1. Psychic knows he has the edge down low, but Mr. Clean able to bother him enough early for that shot to be off the mark, and Mr. Clean gonna take the 2 points. Nothing too complex. Psychic looking to cover the three-pointer. Mr. Clean happy to take the layup. Psychic an early head of steam. Ball out to Brook Lopez. Nobody guarded him. Psychic's gonna be able to make that one. But again, Psychic on defense. Don't want to turn this game into a shooting match, and early on looking to do just that. Psychic jumps early. The hesitation from Mr. Clean just enough to take the open layup. Psychic certainly mindful of the physical edge he has with Giannis versus Stephen Curry, but so is Mr. Clean, and everybody diving at Psychic. Rolling to the rim with Giannis there. 3 Warriors defenders, and that layup's off the mark. Oh, blocking foul out of Psychic. And the early in this game, the slashing something to be desired. We saw shades of it in the 4th quarter of game 1. Mr. Clean, despite the height mismatches, able to do just enough to bother the slashing attack that Psychic likes to throw out. And on the cut, Psychic not able to get there in time. Moment of hesitation is all Mr. Clean needs, and he's up to a 6-point lead as a result. Take a slight head of steam, not quite able to turn the corner though. Ball out to Psychic. Tall, small pick and roll, a problem here, and that is why he can create open three-pointers. Psychic's #1 play if he's looking for a shot at a three-point make. A tall, small pick and roll. It's basically what Mr. Clean is running. The only difference is they've got 2 shooters, but that time it's going to take the simple layup. Like yet again ahead of steam. He knows he's going to take that one. That's impressive. 8%, enough to bother the shot. Stephen Curry nearly an entire foot shorter than Giannis. Something closer to like 7-8 inches. Just enough to bother the shot, and a hesitation out of Mr. Clean. He's not content with a 3-pointer from Klay Thompson. But the recovery from Psychic going to do enough. Of course, more heavy-handed recovery. Psychic had Brook Lopez waiting in the corner, so Mr. Clean brings the ball out. Again, no leaks of the settings or adjustments here. That's a good defensive possession. Out of Psychic, they're able to zone up 2 defenders. We get right back into the action. And Psychic with the head of steam. Mr. Clean bringing their center onto Psychic with Giannis, but we've seen Psychic feast on taller defenders before throughout the season. And that's the kind of defense, if you're Psychic, you want to play literally every time. The perfect switch. The CPU has left something to be desired for Psychic. It's why he's had to play on ball. And yet again, Psychic letting the CPU cook for just a second. Mr. Clean able to burn him. It's why Psychic's been forced to play on ball throughout this series. CPU has not done him any favors in this matchup versus Augustana Esports. Psychic, some very traditional pick and roll. The point guard and the center getting involved. And 4 seconds remaining. The post fade. A tough shot, and Mr. Clean able to corral the board. Limited time on the clock, so I understand why Psychic brought it out. If you're Psychic, you're not too content with that look down on the floor, even if it was an open shot. Especially when you're giving up layup lines here in game 2. Oh, tall, small pick and roll, but Damian Lillard and the CPU earning Psychic here. Dame fades into the help, and Psychic throws a pick as a result. Mr. Clean up 10 early on in this game. Yeah, Psychic, the head is steam that time. Don't gotta overcomplicate anything, just take it right to the rack. Mr. Clean yet again on offense. Mr. Clean got one. Has one knife in the kitchen, but it's proven so sharp. Mr. Clean looking to go to another option. Psychic able to snuff it out, and yet again on the fast break. But the fast break offense, something to be desired. Honest with a bit of a head of steam, but he's red barring. Going to be a 3-pointer for Brook Lopez. Be a foot a little too deep. The deep 3-pointer not going to go in. Wow, Mr. Clean sneaking out of the first quarter with the last second 3-pointer. He's up 11. 3-point shooting from Mr. Clean, such a problem. Saw him hit one with Kevon Looney. Are you kidding me? Such a backbreaker if you're Psychic. That time with Andrew Wiggins. Gonna extend the lead as we give everybody a quick reminder of the standings and what's at stake here. Psychic battles back in game 2. Psychic looking to keep this undefeated record intact. And if you're Mr. Clean, right under him in the standings, looking to try to battle back, take that 1 seed for yourself. Of course, Psychic and Mr. Clean, 2 players. Oh, Steph Curry hits another 3. Mr. Clean, that deadly shooting, continue to prove problems for Psychic. But Mr. Clean and Psychic, some history together. 1-1 all time. You count the previous semester and this one. A Psychic looking to respond with a 3-pointer of his own. His is off the mark, but they get the board. But Psychic losing to Mr. Clean in the regular season. Psychic winning the run back in the grand final of ECAC NBA 2K23. Of course, back then, no crossplay, so it was just PS4. But it seems even with crossplay enabled, as Mr. Clean hits another 3-pointer, the Psychic offense reeling. He's able to score somewhat consistently with that slashing attack, but the shooting from Mr. Clean has been so consistent. Psychic with a chance to respond there, and finally does. He down to 12 for Mr. Clean. But yeah, to wrap it all up as we go back into the full screen, even with crossplay, Psychic and Mr. Clean, 2 PS4 representatives now on PS5, if I remember correctly. My memory serves me right. 2 PlayStation players still at the top of the conferences. Mr. Clean, quick intentional foul, not going to deal with that height mismatch. Well, Bobby Portis basketball for Psychic. Mr. Clean going to bother him just enough, force the pickup. And Psychic, bump steal for Mr. Clean. Augustana Esports down the lane, and they are up 14. Psychic offense and defense has been reeling here. A rough quarter for them. Like, looking to find something here. Room service to Dame Dalla. Another wide open three-pointer. Like, it's got to keep that defense in check. It's got to be able to continue to find these opportunities. But on defense, Mr. Clean has been lights out. Zone defense may be an option. Psychic's got to switch something up here. Mr. Clean, Psychic was able to bother him with this defensive strategy in game one just a little bit. But Mr. Clean in the matrix, the way he's reading the defensive coverage right now. Steph Curry with sharpshooting takeover. Psychic's got to be careful, or this game could be over in a hurry. And Mr. Clean that time, maybe a little too greedy. Although the relocation with Steph Curry so dangerous. Psychic well aware of it. And Mr. Clean just going to cash out with 2 points. I mean, Steph Curry's been such a problem for Psychic. Mr. Clean has been a maestro with the all-time three-point makes leader, and the slashing from Psychic yet again has the mismatch in theory, the height mismatch in theory. Mr. Clean gets another dunk, but the slashing has not quite been there. It's been part of why this lead has been so large for Mr. Clean. Psychic baited into taking shots that look so good on paper but end up off the mark. It's a green release, but Chris Middleton taking a step in, just 2 points. Where Psychic is looking to battle back in this game. You see the field goal percentage, 83% is ludicrous. Psychic is not going to be able to win a game with that sort of efficiency from Augustana here. The hesitation, Psychic is still not able to bother the layup. Stephen Curry continuing to pile on the hurt for Post Esports here. Psychic rummaging through the lane, the hesitation. To get something on the little hook shot there. Steph Curry, public enemy number one, Mr. Clean. Been a problem. That guard pick and roll, so dangerous. 9% covered. The length of Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't even matter. Psychic still getting burned on the pick and roll. It's 41-24. Psychic able to respond there. Gotta look for more of those. If you're Psychic, just, you know, carbon copy of this similar play. The only difference is got a much stronger slasher in Giannis Antetokounmpo, but Mr. Clean content to go bar for bar in the shooting competition. Especially seeing as he has the massive head start here. Lead now up to 17 for Mr. Clean here. Seconds remaining. They could surely content to take the last shot of the quarter, and especially when it's a green three-point release. Gotta stay mindful of Stephen Curry though. Mr. Clean's already snuck out of the first quarter with a three-pointer. Prepare for trouble and make it a double, as he's done it again in the second. The last second three-pointer from Psychic, not gonna fall. The lead gonna stay for 17. That man on your screen, a huge reason why. Stephen Curry, Mr. Clean shooting 86% as a team. The Steph Curry experience, a big part of that offensive attack. Both teams content to bring the starters in for quarter three. I'm certainly feeling good about the substitution. If I'm Mr. Clean, can't say the same if I'm Psychic. So the spin move, Chris Paul on him. Chris Paul too little. 31% not going to matter. Psychic with a chance to even this game just a little bit. And you don't have to account for the human flamethrower in that Warrior starting lineup. Augustana going to look to do some damage to the rim up close on the slam. Oh, Malik Beasley hesitation sheds the defense. Augustana seems to have gotten the board, but then they cough it up. A second offensive rebound going to go the way of Psychic. There's just 14 seconds left. Joe Ingles on the cut, and Psychic content to take advantage of the slower, older, shorter Chris Paul that Mr. Clean has out on the floor. Psychic all over this in the paint. Gotta watch out for that offensive 3 seconds. Not gonna matter. Psychic gonna corral the board regardless. On the fast break, if I'm Psychic, you gotta get points and quickly. Pick and roll gonna shed the defense. Amazing rejection of the screen there. Lead down to 13. If I'm Psychic, I can get the lead down to 10, maybe 9, close, high single digits. By the start of the fourth quarter, I'm content. That's good enough to give you a chance to throw out maybe a different defense. Oh, wow. That was an interesting release from Mr. Clean. Ends up going in. If I'm Psychic here in this third quarter, just make the game close. Give you a chance to throw out a different look defensively. Be mindful of that strong play we saw offensively and more Robin Lopez basketball. Look, Specialist Gold going to work for Psychic there on the green release on the jump hook. Mr. Clean, yet again, the rejection of the screen. Psychic was there. He was mindful of the play. Pat Connaughton doesn't have the same level of speed that Chris Paul does, even at the older age. And Mr. Clean spotting the danger there, ends up giving up a blocking foul. Gonna reset the shot clock down to 15. Oh, and Psychic throwing the pass, ends up bouncing off a defender. Our hook shot action, Shirley with 5 seconds remaining. The release, something to be desired. But Mr. Clean all over that jump hook. Shirley Y, 53% contested. Gotta be mindful, Psychic. We saw Mr. Clean sneak in the starting lineup on a random jump ball, but it seems even with the bench mob in, Mr. Clean still shooting the lights out of the basketball. The lead at 18 for Mr. Clean. Psychic, the rejection of the screen, an open three-pointer. It's off the mark. Kuminga three-pointer, not the greatest three-point shooter on the Warriors lineup, but Mr. Clean shooting with everybody. Little Psychic gonna find something down low. Post fade, not gonna go. Lead has ballooned up to 21 here in the third quarter. Again, if I'm Psychic, just keep the game close, make the lead a little bit shorter than when the quarter began, but the pick and pop mastery has been too much for Psychic, and I believe we have a waving of the white flag. That is 0 for 2. 0 and 2 tonight as Psychic, the victim of an absolute bombing from Mr. Clean. Man, you saw it at halftime. 81% from the field to the bench mob. Able to keep Psychic down. And Psychic, the undefeated streak comes to an end. He's going to fall to 6-1. Going to be joined. Going to end up rejoining the pack. We can take a quick peek at the standings here. You see it, ladies and gentlemen. Psychic able to get away from the pack for just a moment. As we'll turn it off, we'll be able to take a big ol' zoom in of the standings. But Psychic was separated from the pack for just a moment last week. And he took out the final remaining players, the final remaining undefeated players. Going to be a battle for those top seeds in this last week of regular season play. However, he's going to end up rejoining the pack alongside Mr. Clean, who's now also 6-1. Surely some of Cumberland, Will, Newman, maybe some familiar faces up there battling for that top seed. Mr. Clean did not come to play around. Gets the best of Psychic in the regular season in NBA 2K24, just as he did in NBA 2K23. Gonna just about wrap up tonight's edition of NBA 2K action. Hope y'all had an amazing time in the stream. Sure to tune in next week. Psychic continuing that battle to lock in playoff position. You see how tight the race is here, ladies and gentlemen. 5-2, and you're somehow out of the playoffs. Psychic has to come correct next week to lock in that top seeding. Only top 8 make playoffs. Psychic's got to be careful, but that'll just about do it for tonight's edition of NBA 2K action. Going to be sending it on over to the B stream. Got Valorant action going on down there. And I've been Sandwich. Hope y'all have an amazing rest of your evening. Till then, y'all have a good one.